Hello creatives, happy first day of spring and welcome back to the channel. In case we haven't met, my name is Taylor and I am a web and graphic designer sharing tips on creating mindfully and living intentionally. Today we are doing a deep dive into my spring shop update with the biggest focus being this intentional growth journal. Before we dive into the journal, I just wanted to make a few announcements. First, let's start with the obvious. I have the PDF version and the Notion version of this intentional growth journal, and really it is a bullet journal for your mental health and overall wellness and intentional living. The next thing is the free Notion life audit template. This is actually a page that I took out of the growth journal. I feel like everyone needs a starting point when they're trying to get their lives together and be more purposeful about the goals that they're setting in their lives. And I feel like a life audit is the perfect place to start. If you are interested in seeing everything that is new on the shop, visit the link in the description below to check out everything and see exactly what's new. Okay, I am done with all the talk about the shop updates. Let's get into the actual tour of this intentional growth journal. We are going to dive into the PDF version first. I feel like that may be where people will be leaning when it comes to a digital planner or journal. The journal covers come in 3 different colors: dark olive, caramel, and black chocolate. For the sake of this demo, I'm deleting the caramel and black chocolate, so we will just be using the dark olive. We are looking at the table of contents, and you will notice that this entire planner is undated, so you are free to duplicate this and use it as many times as you'd like. The contents of the journal are divided into 5 parts: your section for the year, mind, emotions, self-care, and then your monthly reviews. At the top right, you will see a bookmark icon, which, as you can see, when you click on it, you will always be brought to the table of contents for easier navigation. The first page we're going to go into is the yearly reflections. This is where you talk about everything that you feel is on your heart from last year. This could be a mix of positive and negative things, but really it's just to get it off your chest and to get you in reflection mode. To the right of that, I have a section to write your mindset for the year, put your theme words. You can see that my 3 words this year are spirituality, growth, and stability. And then you can start brainstorming your vision for the year. The next page we have is the yearly intentions. I am calling this an intention board, and I think that what separates this from a vision board is that for the intention board, you may have some visual representation of what you want, but the huge emphasis is that you need to put exactly what that looks like for you and maybe even why you want it. Next, we have the wellness wheel, which is based on the level 10 life method. And on this page, at the beginning and at the end of the year, you rank on a scale of 1 to 10 how happy you are in that area of your life. So at the beginning of the year, you come up with ideas on how you want to be more happy in those areas that you're not. And then at the end of the year, you do some reflections on the progress that you made and what your plans are to do even better next year. The next page is a yearly highlights page, which is completely free form, so you can put as many pictures or text as you like. So that way on future years, you can see a simple snapshot of what your year looked like in that moment. The last page in the yearly section is the overall review page. You will put your lowlights, which are the negative things that happen, and then you're going to have a section for what you learned. It is extremely important to reframe how we see our negative experiences and that we start to see them as areas of improvement and chances to grow. We are off to the first subcategory of pages, which is mind. The first page I have here is a routines page. This is divided into 3 sections: low energy, normal energy, and high energy. And I created this so that way you can give yourself grace on days that you're not feeling the best, and you can have a reference sheet for how you plan to carry out your day even when you're feeling low. You'll see at the top of the page here, I do have more hyperlinks, which are completely hyperlinked for each section. And we are going to head over to the next page, which is the reframing log, which is a more positive word for a trigger log. This is where you put any negative thoughts that you are battling, and you're going to give it a thought category based on the cognitive behavioral therapy patterns, and then you can start to positively reframe those thoughts. Now we are on to the opportunities page, and this is like a glorified pros and cons list. And the goal of this page is to create a space where you can think about something that's really bothering you, and instead of focusing on what you can't do, you focus on what you can do instead, like what's in your realm of control. The mental boundaries is the same thing, except you're just creating boundaries for your own mind. Next, we have the inner child reframing log, which is where you are categorizing limiting beliefs that you have been dealing with all your life. So after you have put these limiting beliefs on this table, you are going to rewire your brain to view this in a different perspective that actually benefits you and your mental health. The next section is emotions. And then we have the indications page, which is a better word for your triggers. If you are thinking about family drama and that makes your heart rate increase, or you start getting shaky breathing, you can put it on this table and then get a bigger picture about how these situations are affecting you, so you can make a more effective change. The next page is the emotional boundaries page. This is where you are setting a boundary between yourself and things that are triggering you. I also have a page for release letters. So if there's anything you need to get off of your chest that you need to tell someone, you can get it off your chest here by writing a letter that they will never read. The next section is probably my favorite, and that is self-care. The first page is introspection, which is where you talk about how you think and how you learn. It's important to make note of how your brain works so you can honor that when you're trying to learn new things and develop yourself. The following page for introspection is when you don't know what to do, ask yourself these questions. You can create your own or use the ones listed here, such as, why do I even want to do this? Or who is in my ear influencing me? When we give purpose to the things that we want, we can be more mindful about what it is that we are bringing into our lives, and that can give us mental clarity. The next page is affirmations, and this is just a simple list of things that you want to tell yourself. As I said before, we have to rewire our brains, especially those of us who are used to self-hate. If we want change, we have to change the way that we talk to ourselves. Then we have the self-care ideas page. I wrote this counterclockwise for some reason, but I've divided it into 4 categories so that way when you're feeling like you need to treat a certain part of yourself, you can put it in the category and just look at that list for easy reference. Similar to the ideas section, we have the self-love language, and this is more detailed because you're putting how these things actually affect you and why they benefit you. The last page under self-care is personal achievements. I think it is so important to take a step back and take a look at everything we've accomplished, because chances are we have done more than we have given ourselves credit. And I think once we see that, we can be more gracious with ourselves, and I think that that will boost the love that we give ourselves. Okay, let's move on to the monthly pages. I'm starting with January simply because it was the closest page here, but you all can use whatever page you'd like. This first page is the calendar, aka the monthly highlights. You can see that I'm importing an image from Pinterest. You can put any type of text or images on this page, and that's one of the reasons why I left the calendar undated. To the right of that, I have a space to put your mindset or focus for the month, and then notes is just a random section for anything that comes to mind. Then we have the monthly intentions page. I've divided this into two sections so that on the left you can put your bigger picture goal, and then on the right you can break it down into as many small steps or habits or weekly tasks that you need to tick off in order to achieve this. Here is a thought insights page, and it is set up very similar to a habit tracker, but the goal for this, if you don't really want to use the reframing log, or maybe you want to use this in addition to the reframing log, you are going to tick off what type of thoughts you're having in a given day in a month. And if you have multiple types of thought patterns in a given day, you can do that because you have the space. You can use the blank space at the bottom to write any notes, and if you want to add any other things that you want to track on the left, you have the space to do so. Next, we have the mood and stress insights page, and I realize now that I'm recording that I forgot to label exactly how this works, so I'm showing you here. The words on the left side of the slash are going to be your mood words, and the words on the right side of the slash are going to be your stress. Now, you can completely cross out one half of that, or just customize this however you'd like. But the purpose of this is to track both your mood and stress in one simple graph so you can see exactly how they're related. In this example I'm giving you, you will see I drew a dot to show that I had a happy mood, and a orange box at the bottom to show that my stress level was low and I was calm. And then let's say the next day after, my mood takes a huge dive and I'm depressed, and then my stress is going up to a space where I want to escape. And then over time you can see how your mood and stress are fluctuating. On the bottom you have space to write your context, so this is just any notes that affected how your mood went that day. And once again, you can use the bottom 2/3 of this page however you would like. Next, we have a basic grid habit tracker. There are plenty of rows for you to write down the habits that you want to track. I will, however, give a word of caution and say I think it's best to only track a small number of habits at a time. Build those, get consistent, and then start tracking new ones and build on top of the foundation you've already set. In my experience, tracking a lot of habits at once causes me to get overwhelmed with tracking so much, and then I end up falling off all the habits. And then we have your monthly review pages, and you can use your insight pages from your thought patterns, mood and stress, and habits in order to see exactly what you need to work on, and you can write all of your reflections here. Lastly, we have the daily log, which is included in every single month, and it is undated, so you can duplicate it as many times as you want instead of being pressured to journal every single day just because there's a preset number of daily logs. On the top left, you'll see there is a space to write your mindset or focus for the day. Intentions could be things that you want to check off or do. You could also use this as a mini task list. I also have a spot for you to show gratitude. I always aim for 3 things to be grateful for every day, which is why I have 3, but you can Use as many of the crevices as you want to, or just use one line if that's what suits you best. And then there is a section for self-care and faith. The goal is to put anything that you have done for yourself that day, and because that space is there, it is holding you accountable to taking care of yourself no matter how busy your schedule gets. Lastly, we have the journal section, and I designed this area to have a small column on the left that you can use however you'd like, but I like to track the time and then next to it put whatever my entry is, so that way I can see how my mood and whatever my energy is fluctuating throughout the day at specific times. And then the last page in the entire journal is a blank notes page that you can use for a million different things. For this example, I'm just using it for things I want to buy. So we've gone through the PDF version. Here is a quick tour of the Notion version. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it is essentially the exact same thing as the PDF. It's just integrated into Notion. I will show a quick montage here so you all can get an idea of what it looks like. And that is it for this planner tour. I know that this was a little bit of a longer video than usual, but I wanted to show you all exactly what was in the planner, what was going on with the shop, and how I think you all could best use this planner for your own personal, intentional, mindful growth. I truly appreciate you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Much love.